Hello everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner, and we're doing a toxic deck. That's right, I'm going back to poison. It's been a while. And if you're new, welcome to the corner. Go ahead and subscribe. This is Travis for Tpull's Corner. And if you are new, we've got a playlist. It's called a Toxic Playlist, so you can find it on the YouTube channel easy enough. And we've got about half a dozen different deck designs on there. And we've been going through the color pie, basically, including one colorless deck that is pretty unique. I haven't seen anybody else do. And I took a while to get to this one because when I did Simic, I did green and blue, and we did the Rot Priest. And that was devastatingly effective. And I didn't have high hopes that I could duplicate that level of efficiency if I moved green over to black as well. But we're going to try it. And I think we just take some damage here. How much do we want to take? So this is Golgari colors, and we're using the Rot Priest. And I'm using, instead of using protection spells on the Rot Priest, I'm using Ashnod's Intervention. When the creature dies or was put into exile, return it to its owner's hands. Using a couple other things too. But there's a number of different spells that make it really effective for green and blue. Like blue has a number of one-drop spells that can do hexproof or phasing or bouncing. That's what we've been waiting with First Terra Sunder. You can just go to exile. And this is the star of the show. So the green one drops, which I used in a previous deck, Tamiyo's Safekeeping, Gaia's Gift, Tyvar's Stand. There's a lot of one drops there to give you, hexproof, indestructible, things of that nature. So since I'd already used those, I wanted to take a chance and just try and do a strategy, a two-pronged strategy. Ooh, you're going to get poisoned for that. We have to wait for them to accept the resolution of it. And then I'm just going to use Ashnod's Intervention, so it'll die, but I'll get it back. Destroy target creature. Just return it to my hand. So they get another hit in with their 1/1s. We don't mind that too much. I do have one copy of a green card that's a 1-drop, Royal Treatment, because it also gives you a roll. So I think I want to experiment with that. So I do have one copy of a 1-drop spell from green to help protect the Rot Priest. But other than that, we're relying on black to sort of resurrect the Rot Priest. Don't really want to keep getting land, but I do want to exile the underdog. So I don't have an enchantment out, but we'll take that. This is kind of risky because I don't have a protection for the Rot Priest right this second. They could have removal easy enough. We shall see. I kind of flooded out more than I was expecting. Yeah, so they at least get a poison counter out of it, but they do get rid of one Rot Priest. I don't have a ton of creatures. I've got a lot of removal. We'll see if the strategy works. So that's the second prong. We've got the Rot Priest for poison and resurrection of poison. And then we have a lot of removal. And that's because for the last 1 or 2 years, I've been very deliberately minimizing. So, oh, now we get Necrogen Communion. Okay, great. As I was saying, I've been minimizing removal just because when I put together a concept, I want to see how the cards work together. I want to get the combo demonstrated. I don't want to concentrate too much on what the opponent's doing. In this case, Toxic is a well-known tactic. The expansion's been out for quite a while. And precisely because it's been so long since I went heavy with removal, I thought this is a good deck to do removal in. Because if you get the Raw Priest down, there's just way too many creatures that can outclass it on the battlefield. And if the enemy sets up a nice defensive line, then I need to get rid of some stuff. They're blitzing it. If we just exile it, do they still get the card? They're going to try and kill their own creature to save things, to bring it back. Okay, they let the exile take place. We take 2 points of damage. We're going to be half dead. Ah, they don't get the card draw. Okay, I feel like we are flooding out too much. Let's go get... Come on. You had your turn. Let me have my turn. They're holding a priority on something in their hand. I think it's removal. Yeah. Let's just throw that away. I'm going to hold on to this for next turn's discard. I need actual spells, not more lands. It's going to feel pretty bad if we die to 2 1/1s. Seriously, Magic? We have 62 cards. Card number 61 is the Celestus, which enables us to go ahead and dig through our deck. Aha! So do I do this now? They're just going to get some more stuff after that if I do that. Let's see what happens. Yep, the lands can all go away. That's 3 lands in a row, basically. So, I know Path of Peril came up in the middle of that, but... Got basically 10 spells and 9 lands out of that draw. Not cool. Alright, pass the turn. It's time to start using our March of Wretched Sorrows. An underdog. Okay, I'm going to use this on a Doomed Dissenter. Because I need to make good on the Path of Peril. You take that. They're happy to get their 2/2 zombie. Yes. Still half dead. They're going for card draw themselves now. And maybe they're going to keep bringing this back. Cost them 2 life per turn. And... yet another land. But we do get a life point out of this each time we do it as well. It's just taking a little bit of time each time, because they're still holding up priority with their 2 mana. Yeah, why not? Yep, why not? Wow. That's pretty close to 5 lands in a row. Magic does not like me today. Ha! There we go. All right. Now we're talking. Doomed Dissenter goes away. They're taking more of their own life than I've been able to take. Let's decline for a change. It still turns out to be... Okay, these can all be killed with Path of Peril, the cheap one. So all y'all go to the graveyard. I will do this again. We finally got a creature. Wow. That is 6 lands. And they're just relying on their army of tenacious underdogs to take care of things. Yeah, let's go ahead. Why not? Okay, let's take away one of those. And... okay, we're going to use the land. We'll put down the Rot Priest. We'll add Necrogen Communion, so if they die, we returns to the battlefield under our control. Pass the turn. We finally have a creature on the field. Who knows how many removal cards they've been storing up. There's one. Just comes right back. Do you have another? Because Path of Peril's not going to help me with the underdogs. They have another one, okay. So, Ashnod's Intervention brings it back up into my hand. They can still summon one of the underdogs. But we did slow them down and make them think about what they want to do. They're going to take 2 more life. The math is still in their favor. And all of my removal is not working against multiple underdogs. They've been able to dig through their deck about as much as I have. Aha! Okay, so... if I put this down... I could lose it to removal, but that's kind of fine, right? They're just now starting to catch up to us on all the land that we've cycled through. Okay, so we expected that. This is kind of standard for black. Go for the throats, murders, heroes, downfalls. They probably got at least 12 removal cards in there. What else can you do? Incubate 2. Okay. And another Ichor Drinker. Okay. I'm going to stop the card draw here and exile one of these pesky underdogs. And now we can't really search for something for land. We need to search for something that we can cast, which is going to be... I think we need to go get the final Tear Asunder, because I think they're going to send the underdog at us again, right? Because that's going to be 3, 4, and then they still have enough to bring this up. I can take 3 points of damage. A Doomed Dissenter. They can't attack this turn. I'm kind of surprised that I only got the 1 Rot Priest so far. I don't have a lot of creatures, but I've only pulled 2 creatures in half the entire deck. And they're doing really good. They're past me now, I think, in card draw. Yeah, they have. They just made really good use of their underdogs. And they're willing to go down to 4. Are you willing to activate that? That's what I want them to do. Alright. We have exiled 3 tenacious underdogs. No, 4. This will be the 4th one. Now, if they wanted to, they could kill it themselves with removal card. And still bring it back, and I'd be in trouble next turn. Okay, let me exile it. Okay, so we have exiled all 4 tenacious underdogs and a Phyrexian Obliterator. Not too shabby. We may not win this, but okay. Get rid of you. See if they activate their artifact creature yet or not. No? Oh, they waited until the very, very end. Okay, so they're guaranteed to get a couple points in, and they can incubate another one. I really need a creature. Yep, so now there's 2 attackers. I guess we're getting rid of Path of Peril. I think I threw away too much land for that. Well, hang on. Add 1 mana of any color. We're going to bargain for this. We're going to throw away the Celestis. We're going to go look for a 4-drop card. Four or less. If they let me. They've got to have another removal card, right? This is probably kind of worthless at this point. Arena found a really good match for us between the incubated tokens and the recycled threats. That it really did outpace my my individual removal cards. First Strike and Death Touch is a good card. I think that's probably the best bet. I kind of need 2 creatures on the field, right? So we cast that without paying the mana cost. And then we just put down the second one. And they got, all they need is 1 removal card, and they got us because they've got 2 attackers. And I can't do anything else. I spent a lot of turns cycling through, what, 8 different lands we have in the graveyard by now? Yep, okay, so they got me. That's it. Oh, yeah, they've been hoarding. And they still feel the need to play a land. Good game. Okay, so that's the dangers that we face from having few creatures. But the question is, what are the odds that we're going to come up against that massive number of recycled threats? Greater odds than we used to, because we didn't used to have to worry about incubation. And now that's part of the environment. And it does make things tricky for removal. Such that even board wipes get tricky. So what do? Do you rely on board wipes? Do you rely on individual? It's tough to tell. I got another card of that, huh? Yeah, let's throw that in there just for the heck of it. I'm feeling wild. Okay, that'll put us at 63 cards. So here's what we got. We got the Venerated Rot Priest. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. To save it, we got Ashnod's Intervention. We covered that. We've got 1 Undying Malice that can bring the creature back to the battlefield tapped. And we've got the Dig Up to go look for a specific spell of your choice, which was cool. I did that. Which maybe if I'd had enough land to search with the cleave cost and pay for this, then I could have done the sorcery part, the Locthwain Scorn, and done -3/-3 on the incubation part. Yeah, I still would have needed to get another creature down, wouldn't I? Anyway, wishful thinking. Okay, we've got the one Royal Treatment. Target creature gains hexproof until end of turn and create a Royal roll to give them +1/+1 in ward. For removals, we've got 2 Black Sun's Twilight to take away their toughness. 2 March of Wretched Sorrows that also give us life gain, which is handy. Battle Rage Blessing gives a creature Death Touch and indestructible till end of turn. Fake Your Death gives them +2, and it returns to the battlefield tapped, and you get a treasure token. Necrogen Communion. Enchant creature you control has Toxic 2, which would give Venerated Rot Priest a total of Toxic 3. When the enchanted creature dies, you get it right back to the battlefield under your control. Terra Sunners, which is nice because you just pay 2 to exile a target artifact or enchantment. So if you're facing like a turn 3 on curve Urbra's Forge, the odds are good that we'll have an answer for it soon. 3 Path of Perils, and we can pay the white mana cost if we get the Celestis out too, so we can do a complete board wipe. 1 copy of Glissa Sunslayer, 3/3 with First Strike and Death Touch, and 3 different options in case we do combat damage to a player. Taken by Nightmares, you exile a target creature. If you control an enchantment, you scry for 2. Beseech the Mirror, a little lovely search card, and if we want to cost the bargain spell, we can sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. And if we bargain it, then whatever spell we have that's mana value 4 or less, we can just put straight into play on the battlefield. Necrogen Rot Priest. Got 4 copies of this. They're 1/5, so they're good blockers, right? Toxic 2. Whenever a creature you control with Toxic deals combat damage to a player, they get an additional poison counter. And anything with Toxic, you can give Death Touch. So that's nice. And I got 1 Dagrath Rebirth with Flashback, so if something goes to the graveyard, we could get it back. And 1 Glissa Herald of Predation, also a black-green card. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you can incubate twice or transform all the incubator tokens you control, or Phyrexians you control gain First Strike and Death Touch until end of turn. And all that we have are Phyrexians. And then we just added Virtue of Persistence, just because I want to play around with that, because I haven't put it in the deck yet. So I think we might have a slightly better chance if we didn't flood out with quite so many lands. I cycled through with the Celestis almost about as many times as I possibly could, just to get something useful. And I had 62 cards, so I had 2 extra spells in there compared to land. You'd think that would be helpful enough, but no. We've got both of our search spells already. Topiary Stomper. Very nice. Let's go get... We're actually going to go get another swamp. Right? No, because that's double land. We can go get a forest for now. Maybe I should just put down a Haunted Mire now because we had Celestis, but I didn't know that was going to be there. On curve Mythic Rare Planeswalker. Must be nice.
For the sake of all Innistrad, my will must...
And they just go get another one.
You wish to know my secrets? Very well. Nothing on Innistrad is free.
Do some... Okay. And they play the card. This one can be a pain, so I think we need to exile it first. Because they just have the option to bring that back every time. That way, there's no way for them to save it since they were tapped out. They got to 7 already, so they could do 13 damage.
My ways are not...
And they got a Restless Cottage now, which is not good for me. And another one of those already. That's too many threats all at once. They got 6 lands out already. And I, for a change, I'm having trouble. We'll get rid of the Planeswalkers so they can't do 13 points of damage to me. And now Stomper can attack. They just get another replacement Planeswalker.
I am vengeance, bloody and righteous. Blood
And
for
after all my
knowledge,
complaints about
a
flooding
fair
out,
trade.
now I'm going to be stuck at 4 lands? What do I do? I guess we can start with this. If they don't have removal, I got at least 1 blocker for a turn. It would have been nice to get 1 more land in there somewhere. I'm counting on them to use the plus ability here.
My ways
That's a
are
disgusting
not
threat.
for the weak.
It's a mirror match. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. They have the same spells. 2 spells to eliminate the 1 card. But that's fine because they're about to kill me. And all we're doing is... we still didn't get a land. And that's 3, so a Path of Peril does me no good. That's really not fair. You gave them 8 lands and stuck me with 4. It's either feast or famine with Arena, isn't it? Alright, Arena. We're going to try again. Could we have 1 game where I get an average amount of land? This is what I get for doing my daily chore first and winning all those matches. Okay, this feels like an apology to me. 2 Rot Priests and 1 way to protect them right off the bat. Doesn't that feel like an apology? 3 Rot Priests, okay. We can afford if they're gonna remove some of them. They're not missing a land drop. They get everything they want. Get an early troll. Get a roll on it already. And that's already beyond my Path of Peril. And it's already too much for my Necrogen Rot Priest. So... can I even block that? I can't even block that. Here, let's put down a 2nd Rot Priest. Whichever one they go after, we'll save. Two poison counters for targeting it. I target it, and that gives 2 more poison counters. Not bad. Now, if I could just get 1 more green mana source next turn, that would be a decent amount of land for the opening parts. I can block you. And that's not what I wanted. But we can do this and give him 2 more poison. 6, no attacks. But they have to be careful about attacking me now. Notice they didn't miss a land drop. We got stuck at 3 again. We don't care about food. We don't care about life gain. We're a toxic deck. And if they target us with a combat spell, they're going to get 2 more poison. Sure. That one's just going to come right back. Alright. 1 more comes down. 1 more of these. 3 poison. No attacks. They do have 2 trample, which is troublesome. And they got just enough to cast their mythic rare enchantment. So we block... Let's see, what do we block? We block there. That's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we block here... They attacked with everybody and they tapped in order to cast it. I'm alive with 1 point. And they're dead with 11 poison counters. We actually did more than 10 poison counters. Stuck with 3 lands. That's slightly disturbing. Slightly disturbing that we can win with 3 lands, first of all. But slightly disturbing that I'm still getting Monostarved 2 games in a row when I already lost 2 in a row. And I can't really change the number of lands, right? If I added more, then I would flood out like I did the first round. I think there's a fundamental flaw in the way that Wizards of the Coast looks at the game, at least in terms of the way they've manipulated the dealing of the lands in the game. They like the idea of variety, and they like the idea that people that aren't of high skill have a chance to win the game, so there's some randomization built into the process. And I think it works well for paper Magic, for when you're playing across the table from somebody. Just having 1 chance to mulligan is usually enough. But the way that they've sort of manufactured... Yeah, come on through. The way they've manufactured things for the digital game, I don't think they've done it correctly. Okay, Terra Sunder's there specifically for things like Erebras Forge. In the old days it would have been Fable Enchantment. And we need 5 to get Glissa down. We're ready for a second Erebras Forge if we need to. We're kind of overdoing it on the protection spells for the Rot Priests. Opponent does not miss a land drop. Another Forge. And we're going to get rid of that before it even has a chance to go off. And we get a Restless Cottage, which is awesome. Okay, I'm not putting Glissa out unprotected. Opponent still does not miss a land drop. We're doing good right now. Okay, beginning of combat. We're going to incubate twice. Are they going to let us live to see combat? Are you going to kill us now? They let it go. We incubate twice. Sweet. Twisted Fealty. Gain control of the creature. Okay. Nice. Sorry, we're not putting up for that. Comes back down, it's on our side. We go here, let's just incubate again. Pass the turn. We can handle anything they throw our way. They want to kill it again. I have 2 ways to do things about it, right? Let's do that. That gives me a treasure token. I might not need the extra mana for treasure, but it gives me something I can use to sacrifice for the bargain spell if the siege comes up. And they want to kill it again. Let's do it this way. We'll actually use the treasure now. These are I'm supposed to be saving these for the Rot Priest, but man, you are heavy in removal up front. Interesting stuff. Alright. We're going to activate some of these. And we're going to activate some of these. And we're going to activate some of these. Go to combat, and we just incubate again. We keep Glissa on defensive, and we attack with our army. Little Phyrexians. Little baby Phyrexians. You're so cute. There's your cute little token. What are they doing? You taking my creature again? Did you learn the first time? And they're attacking you. Yeah, we'll use our last spell to save the Rot Priest because we get to target it again. And they get a poison counter. So we save the Rot Priest, they're going to get life, right? Or no, because they don't have the white to kick it. Why would you use Hurling Battle him if you never had the white to kick it? Aren't there other better 4 damage spells like the Obliterator? That's kind of weird. To me, anyway. Alright, let's incubate twice. We attack with, let's just attack with everybody, actually. We be done. That was not impressive. Really? I'm not sure why they're still hanging around. They know what I've got. I'm not taking any more punishment from you. Alright. That's what happens when we get a decent amount of land for the entire match and a decent amount of spells. And so we've won by the poison, and we've won by the incubator tokens. And a rampaging Geoderm! Sweet. We'll do one more. I think I've demonstrated most of the deck. It's not as constant as the Simic deck, using the Rot Priest with protecting it with all the green and blue spells. There's a little bit extra card draw in the companion blue cards that we have to use with Rot Priest. So I do think Simic is much, much, much more efficient. But if they're not ready, having this up front can really decide a game. So let's risk it. Do you have instant removal on turn 1? No, you do not. And so white does have exile spells, but we just gave him 4. 4 poison by turn 2. That's kind of nice. Ossification is probably the most used spell, of which we have to worry about. I guess we shouldn't try and attack through that, huh? They're playing cautious, that makes sense. Let's do this so we can full cast a Tear Asunder if we need to. I'm still wary of Exile, but I'm really just kind of ready to use Undying Malice and keeping my ammo free to use whichever one makes the most sense. If we get tired of waiting and they're just doing the small creatures, we could use Undying Malice and then use Path of Peril and clear their field. They're still a little wary. That's fine. I don't know what they have. Let's bring down the Celestis. This is a bit of a risk here. Let's see what they discard. Just discard the land? Ah, Machiko's Reign of Truth. Okay. That's one that hurts, doesn't it? I was going to say. Okay. So, we're going to block that to prevent 6 points of damage. The Rot Priest comes back. We're going to go ahead and get rid of Hallowed Haunting, because that's a game ender right there. We'll target this with the next Necrogen Communion. And I think we passed the turn. And they're going to do the same thing all over again. Kind of glad they committed to all that, actually. Oh, yes. I'm down to 2 cards, so they must think that I'm pretty much defenseless at this point. They don't bother attacking, which is perfect. Oh, this is great. Okay. So I can pay for the full cost. We destroy everything. I get my Rot Priest back. And if they don't have a way to remove it, they have a 1/1 blocker right now. They could pile up a bunch of stuff here on the 1/1. Like that. Now it's 4/4. But I can do this, right? And we can start exiling stuff like Twin Blade Geist, right? Yeah, let's get rid of the Double Strike. They take the hit because they're going to have life gain, so what do they care? They got enough cards that they've drawn to refill their hand. Do they do the enchantment on top of this? But if they attack, they're going to risk getting a couple of poison each turn. that. Are you going to stay in defensive position, or do you have enough to cast a blocker too? Circle of Confinement. That does not save me from it. But you have to target it, right? No, okay, it doesn't trigger. That's right. So they hit me for 10. Ouch. Okay, so that's 7. If they don't have a blocker, just don't have a way to pump that up. Ugh, they got me. 1, 2, 3. No, I don't even have enough to trigger the Celestus, do I? Yep, that's game. I don't know if there was a way around that. For me? And all I got was the one board wipe. It's really... Sometimes it's irritating the way that Arena does the shuffling. In the old days, for the first couple of years, you could expect... Like, if you put together a mono-red aggro deck, you could expect a good... random assemblage of creatures and spells. It's part of why red aggro was so effective. And then they started messing things up to where, oh, you didn't get any of your creatures, you just got the enhancement spells. Or, oh, you didn't get any enhancement spells, you just got a bunch of 1/1 creatures and that's it. And here I've got easily a dozen removal spells, not even counting the Path of Peril board wipes. And it gave me 1 Path of Peril, and out of all those cards, not a single interactive spell for board wipe, really. This is already a little bit more variety than we've had, for the most part. And I'm kind of forced to risk this, because I don't know if I'm going to get another land or not. So... 1 poison. 2 poison. Three poison. Notice we missed a land drop already, so we're getting land starved again, even though we just lost the last match. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, just don't give me any land at all, Arena. Wait, how did I get to 10 already? Did they just... We did get to 3 toxic, but I think... Did they concede? I don't know how that works. Oh, wait, what? I was counting by ones. I had 3 toxics as soon as I put that on. Did I just go ahead and kill them that quickly? Does that mean I have to stop complaining about being land starved? The only times I went are when I went with like 2 lands and 3 lands with this deck. This is weird. Alright, every time I complain the loudest about getting land starved, that's when Arena lets me win the match. Arena's getting weird, dudes. We'll go in and show you the deck one more time. We invite you all to like and subscribe. This will go on the Toxic playlist. So we've got Simic on there. We've got Mono White on there. We've got a really good green and red one that uses Double Strike and big green monsters with Toxic, which was the first one I created, which is really fun to play. We've got Dimir, which is black and blue, where you just don't even have a creature. You don't bother to touch him. You just give him poison counters and proliferate the heck out of it. And then the Colorless Poison was the last one that I did more recently. And this will go on the tail end of that playlist. If you haven't seen them, if you're at all interested in Poison and seeing some really good, fun Poison Magic matches, the playlist is there for you. And this will just be the latest entry. I'm not sure what other Poison combinations I can do. There's probably a lot of white Poison cards that have not really been explored a lot, because there's some that we've already figured out after a certain number of matches that these are the more efficient ones. So I've already put together a mono white before. I might do an Orzhov poison. I don't think I've done black and white together yet. So, we haven't exhausted the poison, even though it's kind of a parasitic kind of thing. There's only, it came in Phyrexia, all will be one, and they haven't really added a whole lot of poison after that. But I don't know. I think it's growing on me. I know that it's a love it or hate it kind of mechanic. I can't say that I love it yet, but the more that I explore with it, they did a good job in designing these cards so that if you did want to go into various different colors, you do basically, except for, even with the way I did it with red doesn't have poison cards, but the combination with the green poison mechanic and red helping them out made for a really fun deck, actually. One of the more fun ones, and I haven't seen other people using that kind of combination. Everybody's mostly been sticking with either the mono white poison, the Dimir poison, or the Cynic poison. And then I've been beaten a couple of times by this with the Venerated Rot Priest and the Necrogen Communion. And that's about it. And I didn't pay too much attention at the time to what other cards they used, so I cobbled this together from what I felt like made for a possible good kind of matchup. But go ahead and leave a comment. There's a poll up there, I think, about what mechanic you hate going up, what type of deck you hate going up the most. And I think about 40% of you have said poison is the worst, that you hate going up against that the most. So that poll's still there. I think it's open. So if you want to add, and we've had poison for a longer amount of time now. So I think I left the poll open just so that as more time passes and people have gotten used to poison being around, if it's changed anybody's opinion. So if you haven't voted yet on that poll, just go to the community page on my YouTube page there. Hit community. I think it's the first poll question that I put down, and it asks you, do you hate poison more? Do you hate milling more? Do you hate going up against discard more? Counter spells? Fill in the blank even if you want. But I am interested in kind of an update on what the general community thinks of poison these days, if you haven't already answered that poll question. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good one.